for being at our regular board scheduled meeting for today, March 18th. We apologize for a lengthy closed session. There was business that needed to be taken care of there. It is about 6:52. Thank you for joining us for this particular meeting. Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Trustee Bowman. Trustee Pratt.
Here.
Trustee Dave Smith. Here. President Garrett.
Here.
VP Gross.
Present.
I am here and Treasurer Chair.
Present.
7-0.
All right, awesome, thank you. We're gonna stand for the, oh, wait a minute. Sorry. We're gonna now present for the Pledge of Allegiance, but we have our national, we have ROTC. We can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Forward.
Absolutely love when that happens. Need a motion on the floor to approve the agenda. Moved by Trustee Bowman, supported by Trustee David Smith. Questions, comments, or concerns about the approval of the agenda? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Pratt.
Yes.
Trustee Dave Smith. President Garrett.
Yes.
VP Gross.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Treasurer Terry.
Yes.
And Trustee Bowman. Yes.
Thank you. We're gonna move down to awards and recognition. Elaborate, the meeting is now yours.
Okay, good evening. Thank you, President Garrett, trustees, members of our illustrious Pontiac School District community. This is always an exciting part of the evening where we get an opportunity to recognize and appreciate our staff as well as our students. The first honoree is a certificate of distinction. This certificate is proudly presented to Jason Dosh in recognition for your years of dedication and excellent leadership in guiding our students to excellence in the National Equity Lab Poetry in America course. Thank you for your continued support of our students, given this 18th day of March 2024 in Pontiac, Michigan. Is Jason here? Accept this on his behalf. We'll make sure he gets it. This next certificate of recognition, this certificate is proudly presented to David Tostada Laredo in recognition of being accepted into the National Equity Lab Honor Society and for being named in the top 15% of the Poetry in America course put on by Arizona State University. David, congratulations. This next certificate of distinction is for Isabella Larkins. Isabella is being recognized for her acceptance into the National Equity Lab Honor Society and for being named into the top 15% of the Poetry in America course put on by Arizona State University. And we are always so honored and proud that our students are able to participate in the arts. So we are very proud for this partnership and all of our students that participated in this distinguished course at the university level. All right. Katrina Hong, she's also being recognized this evening. Nancy Gonzalez, recognition of distinction. Samani Guy, recognition of distinction for her participation as well. And this certificate of distinction is for Isis Humphrey in recognition of their participation in the Detroit Symphony Orchestra Middle School Honors Days. Congratulations on this big accomplishment. We are proud of you and excited to see your continued success. And she is
That's your dad?
Comments from the board? We do have her father here as well. So starting with, you can go. Trustee Bowman.
Congratulations to all the students, even though that most of them are not here. But a special congratulations to Isis. And just if your dad didn't let you know, we're family, darling. So know that we appreciate you and thank you for continuing to represent Pontiac and Pontiac School District. Thank you so much.
All right, Trustee Crab.
Yes, congratulations to all the students, especially you. You're here. And congratulations, Dad, because if you didn't bring us to Pontiac School District, we wouldn't be having this shining moment. Thank you for believing and trusting in our school district.
Thank you. Trustee Terry.
I want to say congratulations to everyone that received the award today, and also the teacher that received the National Education Exam. So congratulations and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Secretary.
Thank you. Good job, Isis, as well as the other recipients of the awards tonight. But I think your dad is a part of the Pontiac School District too, right? Yeah. So good job.
Trustee Davis Smith. Thank you, ma'am.
I wanted to congratulate all the students as well as the teacher. A special congratulations, Isis, and also thank you so much, Coach Humphrey, for continuing to support our district as you always do.
All right, Vice President. Sir.
Thank you, sir. No, I can't, I don't want to repeat what everyone said. We appreciate you. And thank you. Well done. You continue to do while you're here. And I just want to thank, Superintendent, our board, president, for bringing our attention to our children. Those who are here in the district, as well as those who are doing well when they leave the district. That is, every board meeting, we recognize our children for their accomplishments. And I want the community to know that. And if you have a child out there who is a graduate of this district, bring it to our superintendent's attention and we'll present you. Because we love it when our children are shining. And young lady, what you're doing is shining bright. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Keep up the great work. Encouraging some of your students to kind of continue along. Music is, I don't know nobody who doesn't like music or some type of genre of music or anything like that. So you're definitely going to be able to touch a lot of lives doing what you're doing. So we appreciate that. And if there's something that we can do to improve the music program and to improve things that you are already in, just please feel free to let us know. I think you're not shying your suggestions, and neither is Coach Humphrey. So thank you so much, sir, for bringing in, and thank you for being here this particular evening. So if we're going to take a 5-minute break, or not even 5 minutes, it's going to be like 2 minutes, because we traditionally make sure that the student can get out of here and then honor her for a brief 2 minutes here up front, and then we'll be right back. Okay? All right, thank you. Where's that?
Board,
Yeah, I'm going to.
Just take y'all same spots, y'all take it over. Don't come by that room.
Glad to see you. Ready to do what we gotta do? We are too.
Start with action first. You started with.
I don't remember.
Ready when you are, Frank.
We're ready.
All right, welcome back. Thank you again for allowing us to honor that student and take that short break. We're going to move down to recognition of elected officials. Do we have any elected officials in the board? Okay, I don't see any, but we do have 6 elected officials on this dais. Good evening. How y'all doing? Good evening, sir. Good, thank y'all for being here. We're going to move to consent agenda. Can we get a motion on the floor to approve the consent agenda? Moved by trustee David Smith, supported by trustee Terry. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Trustee Dave Smith, President Garrett,
Yes.
Trustee Gross.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Treasurer Terry.
Yes.
Trustee Goldman.
Yes.
And trustee Pratt.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Awesome, thank you. Going to move down to information from the interim superintendent and administration, interim superintendent report, reports the UMACC project and OU piece presentation. Welcome, and Dr. Leonard, the meeting is yours.
Thank you, President Garrett, trustees. This evening, we are very excited. We have a great partnership and presentation coming forth. As I said earlier, we have recognized a National Education Equity Lab teacher. We recognize the Honor Society's award recipients. We recognize our young student with the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. And this evening, we have a wonderful opportunity. So excited that our partnership continues. It was an outstanding trip from what I am hearing and hope to learn more. Coco Modru, Shauna Bugard, several staff from Pontiac School District are here, and so they will introduce themselves and share about just the wonderful experience that you had, and we hope to do it again next year. With that, I'll turn it over.
Good evening, board. Thank you so much. Oh, okay. Thank you, board, and thank you, superintendent. Thank you, everyone in the community. My name is Shauna Bungard. I am a clinical social worker. I'm also one of the co-leaders for the Oakland University Pontiac Initiative Early Childhood Education. Can't even talk tonight. And we are here along with my partners, my 2 colleagues in crime, Coco Mulder and Dr. Wakabayashi from OU, as well as Mr. O'Neill and Ms. Washington from the Pontiac High School, who are 2 chaperones this year. We did attend the Harvard Alumni of Color Conference. We took 7 of our 10 students that we have trained as part of our youth math. Thank you all so much. We do have it's a long presentation, but it's very informative. We actually took the 7 along with our wonderful chaperones. Pardon? Yeah, I know. Oh, the names of the kids. Oh, yeah. So we have let's see. All right, we have Isis Shaw, Ariana Clark, Ariel Thomas Webb, Harmony Booker, Nadia Davidson, Nara Simana, I'm going to probably mess up his last name, Srivatsa, named Sri. And then we have Noelia Luna, who are all a part of our trip. We also have 3 more that stayed back because of obligations at home.
But we did want to at least acknowledge them. We were hoping they could be here tonight to present. So they're not with us tonight, but they are here in spirit. So we do have a couple of videos we're going to show with them on it. So I did want to explain this. So the Alumni of Color has been going on for the past 20, how many years? 25. It's been a long time. But we have been training these kids since September. So we have been training the kids on building resilience, talking about adverse childhood experiences, talking about mental health, talking about positive coping skills. What can they do to become trainers so that they can train the next students coming up? The goal is to train the students at the middle school moving forward. So that's kind of where we are with things. I just want to give you an update. We're going to be talking more as we continue to go through. This is just a video explaining the actual coloring of the Alumni of Color Conference. This is actually talking about the mission of it. It's to inspire and impact the improvement of the education sector by annually convening alumni, students, practitioners, artists, and scholars, both from Harvard Graduate School of Education and across the nation. The students experienced, they attended several different sessions along with the chaperones ourselves. So this is them arriving in Boston. Thank you, Mr. O'Neill, for taking these pictures. It was a great opportunity for them. We had a couple that had never flown, so you can imagine the angst that they experienced. I do want to shout out to Diane Perez because she did an amazing job getting everything planned, and Dr. Leverett and Dr. Devison as well. Getting all of these things in place. We want to thank OU because they also supported this as well. So this is them arriving to Boston. We had a planning session in which the students were able to really practice. They had to do a presentation. They actually presented, so you're going to get to see that too. We also shared the Zoom link with all of you as well, so hopefully you get to see the recording. But you can see we were planning. Next slide. All right, this is their actual student presentation. We had 7 on the panel. Mulder here, she led the discussion. They were asked several questions as it relates to why are you in this program? Why did you join? And many of them said, we want to help people. We want to make a difference in our community. We want to support others who are struggling just like I am, right? They talked a lot about just building, what is joy to them? What does solidarity mean to them? What does resistance mean? And they talked about that. The link, the right side is the actual link that was on the Instagram post from the conference. Next slide. All right. This was the outline of the talk that they did. They talked about We Are Pontiac Youth Math. This was an introduction to them. They talked about ACEs. They talked about why they joined. And then we talked about next steps, which would be to train other students. That is the goal. And this is them at Harvard. You can see them all. Yay. Next slide. All right. Oh, we also were so fortunate to meet and actually attend Dr. Bettina Love's presentation. If you've not read her books, watched her TED Talks, please do. She's an empowering speaker. I'm going to let these guys kind of share a little bit about what they learned because I think it's powerful and coming from a teacher's perspective. So I don't know if you guys want to just talk about what you learned at the session.
Hey, good evening. I am a teacher at Pontiac High. I'm in the science department, and it was an honor to be considered to go on this adventure with the students up to Harvard. I just want to say one thing. The students did outstanding with their presenting. They did a wonderful job there. They were brave. They were open and vulnerable, and they could share their experiences. So it worked out really well for them. From the teacher perspective, being chaperone, it was a good opportunity to be able to network and meet other individuals that were there. I was able to connect with some other science individuals, particularly one from Seton Hall that's doing work incorporating hip hop into the science classroom. So I'm going to be connecting with them to see how that works and see the work that's being done and how we can benefit from it here.
I'm Teresa Washington, and I am the Spanish teacher at PHS. Phenomenal trip. I cannot express to you how proud I was of our children. They collaborated, elaborated professionally. So many of the organizers who put on the conference were so shocked at their ability to explain ACEs, how they carried themselves from the conferences, in the conferences. One of the students who said, well, Miss Washington, I have a little anxiety, you know, but she was one of the ones who spoke the most and got into a room full of young professional women and blew them away with one of her questions. I wish I could show the video because it was just phenomenal. And and we learned, Mr. Anil and I learned quite a bit about dismantling carceral logic, how we discipline our children in classrooms. And that was phenomenal. It was a great experience for our kids to see other people who look like us on a Harvard University campus. That was more than anything for me to see them. I hope we're able to get more kids to get involved and be able to allow them to attend this trip. We were kind of going through some different students who might be on that borderline, who in that gray area, to hopefully allow them to attend the conference.
Okay, so I facilitated for the young people, of course. But what I want you to be present to is that the facilitation was because of them. So when you are going before people who you'll never ever see again in your life, it's very daunting for young people. And so prior to going to Harvard, they ended up having to create the questions that I would ask them so that they would be comfortable with their knowledge. And so what you aren't able to see is that they had people in the room in tears because they are young enough to get how ACEs can impact you at a young age and why adults are very integral in not understanding how they impact them as children in the classroom. And so as we have these conversations with these young people, what we are talking to them about is how do you overcome? How do you use resistance? How do you take the joy that you see in everything that you encounter and put that into the classroom and work collaboratively with your teachers? Because what was important for them is that the teachers got it while they were with them. And they were talking to them because at first they were like, why is Mr. O'Neill and his phone rang in the back of the room? And all the kids were like, shh. And they were like in their presentation. And he was like, oh my God. But in that moment, they got how connected they are, even though they're children. And that was the beauty of this conference. And so if you've never had an opportunity to see Bettina Love's TED Talk, we put this here so that you could hear why she, when I say the kids were kind of slouched in the room, and then she matches my energy like big time. And when she started talking to them about the systemic history of racism in the communities of people of color, it sparked something in them. And when I mean they met this lady, they were like, you gotta come to Pontiac. And she was like, I don't know about all of that. But she was that kind of inspiration to them where they sat up and they said, wait a minute, this is wait a minute. And it just shifted in them how our community matches what she's talking about in her research. So we're not going to belabor you with this, but it's there. If you have not had an opportunity to Google Dr. Bettina Love, she is an amazing woman who's doing a lot of amazing work in terms of Black and Brown communities. I'm going to pass that soon.
My book.
Sorry. So here they had the opportunity to take a picture with Dr. Bettina Love. I mean, I was so impressed by her, and it take a lot to impress me. And I was like, we got to get her to come to Pontiac for real. Like for the teaching staff, just for the beginning of the year, if there's a speaker, we got to see if we can get this lady to come here and just shift, how teachers see themselves as they connect to young people. So I do want to show these two videos of our kids' Instagram because you could see their excitement.
Today we are here with
Noelia.
Nursing History, what's up?
and we are asking, how do you maintain and share joy?
I maintain joy by keeping a positive mindset.
I share joy by expressing my feelings by excitement and jumping all around and family and friends.
Today we are here with,
Noelia.
today we are
Nice to
here
meet you,
with,
Alexa.
we're asking, how do you express resistance?
Isolating myself and breaking down standards.
Today we are here with,
Harmony,
we're asking, how do you express resistance?
breaking stereotypes of Pontiac kids, because we in Boston, baby.
I just tell you, if that don't make you excited about having your
Today we're
kids,
here with,
to have your kids go out and just represent Pontiac, that purple across that conference was one where people knew who they were, and they were just excited that they weren't the only young people there, because let me tell you, kids from middle school, elementary school, and high school were there doing presentations. And one group came all the way from Los Angeles, a little small school, and I mean, they impressed our kids, and they got to interact with them and things that they want to do with our young people here at the middle school. They kind of stole their ideas, but it's all good. And so we took them to Quincy Market, which is a market where they can experience multiple, the lobster, y'all. That's all I can say. But they got to, do a little mini shopping and just eat, and it's just a open market. They enjoyed themselves. As you can say, I got to smile because I had a lobster roll. Yeah. So you see here, downtown Boston, we stopped, made sure that they rode the subway and all those kinds of things. So they had to experience what a different city is, the city life. We don't have public transportation, so they got to experience that, what it's like where you don't have to worry about getting from point A to point B. You can get across the city and town anytime you want to, any time of day. And so here's how the breakout sessions went for our young people. They started in student government activities where they got to talk about resistance, solidarity, and joy. Then they went to the spirit and crew of the middle school mural illusions arts. So they, got to learn about how do you do art and make it an illusion. And then you can see we then went to the art museum. And then we did the teach like an MC. So that hip hop culture and how some of us grew up in that time period and the kids just couldn't believe it. But we did. And so how do we take and change and shift our curriculums to impact our kids and allow them to have power in that? And then, of course, our keynote speaker. And then, we took the kids on a journey of activism. So there was a panel that where the students got to express themselves and how in that resistance that they are struggling, and that the kids, if they were here, they would tell you that these young people are fighting, for acknowledgement and awareness of the war that's going on in the Middle East right now, and how they are being impacted in their jobs, and how they are on campus, and how you have to stand for something or you'll fall for anything, and that they watched in solidarity. All the groups got together and they all stand for the same thing. And so how do we show that to them in a school system where they get to say to you all, hey, these are some things that we're experiencing in school, and be comfortable and not ostracized. So it's a lot of feedback that we got from the kids in doing that. So you can see Mr. Idell touching the feet of Mr. Harvard himself. So when you go to Harvard, you got to touch the feet and take a picture. And so we stopped and did that with the kids. And then here you see them engaging with the group from LA. They did a form of musical chairs, except you stood up in the middle of the room, and the statement that you made, if you agreed with that statement, then you had a couple of seconds to get to a new seat. And if you weren't, you were the one in the middle giving them an idea of, what their question would be. You can play that.
Everybody that is will get up and move around to another chair.
Mm-hmm.
If you are getting up, you can smile, this one, or just wave at another person. The last person standing will be the next person to ask the question.
Oh.
Is everybody ready?
You gotta take some chairs out, girl.
No, I don't want to. So is everybody ready? Alright. So to all my people who participated in clubs during high school. This ain't no fair. This ain't no fair.
That's one of our kids. Yeah, so all my people who, and if you didn't fit it, you had to move. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. And so here you see the young people engaging again in the conversations. And then they went to the art museum, and Shree is just, and neighbor, you know, he just couldn't, he was just mesmerized. And then here's the student leadership panel, where they got to really listen to what it means, you know, to build resilience, understand resistance, and just in the same time find joy you know, and just collaborative work. And then we took them to dinner. They had ramen. And then here we are again. All we can say is thank you, because it is, if it's not the collaboration between the school district and Oakland University and our partners and adding more partners, giving teachers the experience of that conference. That's an education conference. So that is a conference that teachers can go to from this district to gain that collaborative spirit and bring takeaways back to the district to just shift a little bit. And our opportunity in this is that we are saying that kids understand what it means to be resilient, what it means to understand that adversities are not your soul, that you can you can overcome the things that you have experienced in your household by having one adult in your life, one of us, one of you, who can impact the change for them into their future. And so with that, we'll say thank you, we appreciate you, and we look forward to planning early in advance so that our kids, more than just 10, have this experience, because we're saying that you don't have to be on somebody's caseload to have this experience of Harvard. And so, questions?
Awesome. Start for questions here before, okay, statement, trustee Bowman.
Just want to thank you all so much for what you do, for taking the time to work with our youth and show them how to overcome and be resilient. So thank you all so much for what you do. And then even though our young ones aren't here, I'm thankful for them for taking up the helm to want to be interested in helping themselves as well as others. So hats off to what you all do. Thank you so much for being on the shirt. So thank you.
Madam Secretary.
Hi. We totally appreciate the work that OU Pontiac, that you all do with our students regarding this program. I know last year was the first year, and the stories that you guys shared, and when they came back and their experience, it was amazing. So I was happy to hear that we were doing it this year, but just for our teachers to have a chance to go this year and see the effects of it for themselves and how we really need to include more students in this opportunity. So just from us, thank you so much for your dedication to our students in this work and just for the support that you give for the Pontiac School District.
Thank you, madam. Mr. Vice President.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Were the students different students from last year?
Yes.
Okay, so.
We have one that came back.
Okay.
But again, this is a growth process.
Yes.
So you may start ninth grade and we don't kick you out because you don't want to participate. And so the onus is on us to create an opportunity for this to grow across the high school so that everybody is trained. But in particular, once you're trained, our goal is to go to the eighth grade group and get them prepared to come into the high school with these tools, right? So we're preparing them by giving them a tool so that they aren't being suspended, they aren't being stuck, they aren't getting in their own way. So yes, we only had one kid. He didn't go with us to Harvard in particular, but he did return.
You did return. And that's wonderful. And that's why I asked the question, because I think every child should have the opportunity to be involved in this. And some of the things that you shared with us that you've learned, even as teachers, on how to discipline a child in the classroom, I think it's an experience for everyone to take. And I thank you. And this is another opportunity to continue with this partnership with OU and continue to do this yearly. You made an excellent point. Let's get this done early, submit it early, and maybe at that time we'll determine if we can take more children. But you know your capacity, what you can handle, but you also need chaperones. So thank you for this. This is wonderful. And your experience is getting better each year, correct? That's what I want.
They're not so shy.
So yeah, last year they're very shy, but I can see the difference now.
So this year they also got the certificates from Harvard. Yeah. And that was actually one of our students' idea. I said, can we get a certificate? So I asked, and they decided to give all the student participants certificates.
So I
this is
say
the
to the
first year.
parents of those students, frame them, because you can keep them forever. Paper deteriorates, but
We
the
also
glass
asked
stays
about,
forever.
SCUs for teachers, so
Yeah.
sketchy,
There you go.
CEUs for, or sketchies for
Thank you.
staff, yeah.
All right, thank you. So, excellent job. Okay, great, kudos, very excited. Thank you very much. Second year. Okay, so can we talk about the third year and the fourth year and the fifth year? And here's why. Because we've already had this conversation, and I know sometimes when we are like, when things transition and people have new ideas and things of that nature, then things kind of happen and oh, this is not as important as we thought it was because they may have not been included into a certain conversation. Okay, so the Board of Education, 2 years ago, I think it was maybe, listen, 3 years ago. Maybe, yeah, 3 years ago. Okay. We went through our ACES training, right? And then we said, okay, now we want to go and have it over at the high school. Then it started over at the high school. And let's just say it was kind of interrupted by somebody's COVID pandemic, whatever you want to call it. So, and then we go back. And then we was like, okay, let's get this ball back to road. And then there was, somebody had another idea, right? And, but didn't understand that the board had already said, this is the idea that we have found that works for our students. We're taking the training. So we wanted to go back to our recertification. I think we did. And then it was supposed to be at the high school. This is the program that we're setting around mental health, ACEs. People have other names for it. This is the partnership. This is the program that the board agreed to. Okay. This is the program that we will continue. This is the program that we will have more students and more teachers, and teachers have to be trained in this particular program, because the other part of this is when we had the conversation during the pandemic and we were growing out PCIP, and we were having a conversation around what do we find, how do we address certain traumas that happens in particular neighborhood, and then soon to be Dr. Hannah is doing some things around parent participation, like some other things that data-driven information that was already done and completed. And so I'm doing this on a live meeting, so I can send people back to this date and this recording, so they can say, okay, this is what we were doing. This is how this is supposed to be done. Just in case anybody had any other questions. Because we've had conversations about this, and you guys come to board governance, and we go through this whole dance, and then it's like it doesn't get to other people.
Correct.
And so I don't know all the proper titles because they come and change them so much in front of us. But we're going to have a conversation during board governance. We'll put this on the agenda. And if it's something around behavioral specialists, other mental health psychologists, psychiatrists, those individual programs that we pay people to come in and make sure that they handle a certain amount of students, caseload. Like, we need to start streamlining all of those things so that by the time summer school starts, like, this is just a normal thing. Like, right? And it's for our community as well. So it's twofold. It's not just for the district, it is for the city of Pontiac as well.
Correct.
Because if we don't start healing let me just say this. Pontiac is resilient, period. Like, with or without your professional help, we will always find a way to make sure that we move past where you think that we cannot go. We always have, we always will, and we don't need your titles or whatever such to do so. But with that being said, it moves a lot faster when you have kids and children and citizens in front of them that go to the same places, kind of hang out in the same places, do the kind of same things, that have a very open and honest conversation about why we feel the way that we feel.
Yes.
Now, with that being said, again, I'm not taking anything away happening through the second cohort. I'm glad we got two marvelous teachers that had the opportunity to experience it. However, we need to do more. And this is pretty much the only program that I've seen since I've been sitting here that has actually, when I go into the school myself, I pull a couple of your students to the side and we have an ACEs conversation. Because I don't like the fact of doing this. We can do this here all day long. This is the political place, right? But if I go to one of your students when you're not around and I'm asking you how this works, or I see how, and then we can just have a conversation about 5 minutes on the side about it, and then like they encouraged about it, but then kids who are not even involved in the program, because I do it during lunch, we're having a conversation about it, and they may not know the vocabulary in which that we're having a tone in the conversation about, but they joining in into the conversation. It's just a regular conversation that we're having. It works. So with that being said, I've done my own analysis, and I would put that up against anything somebody else would show me moving forward, that this is it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know the proper name because we get it confused sometimes because Vice President looked at me and he was like, what is the problem? So people need to understand. Right. So people need to, no, understand, but people need to understand clearly, like when you say the OU piece versus the OU partnership,
It's totally different.
so these are two different things. So the OU piece is the
OU Pontiac Initiative for Early Childhood Education, where we do resilience and.
I need you to say what that is.
That's what it is.
Okay.
OU, Oakland University Pontiac Initiative for Early Childhood Education, where our goal is to have students trauma trained in ACEs and PACEs.
Okay. OU partnership. That is the whole one that's partnered with the city.
Yes.
That's included a pillar of education in there, a pillar of workforce development, a pillar around health, and food,
security,
and nonprofits and food insecurity, which are totally two different things.
Yes.
So that we clear. So if everybody at home clearly understands that, again, this is for documentation purposes only. Like that's why we're going through this. Okay? And so with that being said, thank you again. We appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you on Monday at 6 o'clock at our board governance meeting so we can have a deeper discussion on what next year looks like and then begin to put a plan of action in place so that we're all on the same page about what this means to this district and why we're doing this. And so we'll continuously wrap around some branding and some marketing, some other things around the queue. So everybody's all on the same page and we're not getting bombarded in private meetings about other things that kind of have not been tested yet. But this has been proven to work for us. Okay? All right, thank you so much. I appreciate you. We're going to move down to the discussion items, wireless network updates, E-rate project. Dr. Leverett.
Thank you, President Garrett. At this time, I will call Jeff and Tom, and we would like to discuss the network electronics E-rate bid. The school district of the city of Pontiac issued a request for proposal for network electronics through the federal government E-rate program to replace our aging and outdated wireless access points throughout the district. And Tom, Jeff? Oh, okay. Tom, hello.
Good evening. As Superintendent said, we are bringing to the board an agenda item for the upgrade of our wireless access points in our network. We did put out the request for proposal, received 2 bid responses. Intercom Technical Services Group, based out of Southfield, provided the lowest bid for the requested proposal. Intercom has a long-established relationship with the district and with Oakland Schools, has completed similar projects for numerous school districts in Southeast Michigan, and has provided exemplary support and services to Pontiac schools in particular. The cost for this project is $137,329.95. It includes 151 Meraki MR46 wireless access points, 7-year licenses, which is a pool extending the licenses on our existing access points,
the removal of existing access points, installation of new ones, and mapping of all the access points at the end of the project. This would be funded through a bond project or bond funds, but it is an E-rate project, meaning we would receive a reimbursement of between 70–80%. That exact percentage to be determined at the after processing of the E-rate paperwork. Are there any questions on this proposed project?
Any questions from the board? Okay. Go ahead, trustee Terry.
Just one question. This was throughout the whole district, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, sir. I believe just about every building is touched. It is not a full replacement of access points. It is replacing 2 out of 4 models that we have throughout the district, the bulk of them being in the high school, just from when they were initially deployed several years ago. That's where we started, and so we're replacing those old, aged out access points.
Thank you.
This covers about 25% of the existing wireless access points in the district, if that helps.
Do you have a bear for this one? I know it was a discussion item.
Yes, we do have a bear. That was submitted.
Okay, gotcha. Got it. No, I got it. I just wanted to, let's see. Let me say it real quick. Quick question about, was this included in the bond work? Was this a scheduled work for bond? Because I don't remember it being scheduled work for bond. And is this something that we're saying, this seems like a regular maintenance space when you do something like this, so if this is only 25% of it, like help me out with that. Was this a regular, was this in the bond or not?
In the bond, we had wireless network refresh, partially refreshed. We've done it in like 3 or 4 phases over the terms of the bond. This was one that we had some access points coming off of usable life. So we're using some of the bond proceeds and savings to refresh those instead of letting them sit out there unsupported. So while networking was part of the overall bond scope, we're using some of the bond savings in the technology projects and capitalizing on our final E-rate dollars that are available. So the E-rate goes on a 5-year cycle. So we did a bunch of work 5 years ago, but before that we had done a starter project at the high school. And those are the starter ones that didn't get refreshed the last time we did it. So that's why you're only seeing a small number throughout the district. If that makes sense.
Well, it makes sense, but in light of what we've been through with our bond dollars have been transferred to other, bond budgets were transferred to other projects. And so by this coming up, saying that, I mean, your words are particularly saying that we have these savings out of bond, out of technology, I'm not quite sure which ones.
In the networking side. So in our networking.
Excuse me when I say this.
I'm sorry.
Pardon me, I'm sorry, if I didn't make myself plain. So there are documents that said that there were technology updates for the bond. There's no doubt about that. The concern now is that there's been bond dollars, bond budgets that have been used, dollars in those particular budgets have been used, and I'm not sure if we have a surplus as it relates to extra bond dollars coming out of this particular bucket of money that was set aside at the beginning of the bond when none of us was here, because how it is talked about now or described in several conversations now is described as if it was touching on different bond projects. Now, I admit to you that this is something that is definitely needed and should be done as we're bringing new buildings online and old buildings, coming back online in different, projects being removed because access points change depending on where we need them. I just want to make sure that this is 80% reimbursable, that you have what we say you have to start. And if we making sure that we'll be able to continue the other 75%, if only we're starting with the 25%, if that makes sense.
I believe I understand.
Okay.
So according to the figures that I've been working with, we should have bond funds. We can double check with Pete and Diane, to cover that. So, and again, the E-rate dollars expire, so we wanted to make sure we took advantage of those before they expired, next year.
So does the bond dollars, the budget that you've been working on, that the budget since 2017 that you've been working on?
That's been revised a couple times.
But we
So
talked
with
about,
our prior CFO, he made some adjustments. We reduced some of the dollar amounts. We funded some through grants. So
okay,
we've been trying to keep track of it as best we can, make sure that we're within the scope. If we can't cover it under the bond, we should be able to also split it with some of our operational. And looking at our operational, we could cover it, part of it as well.
okay. So if we can, if you will, because I think this is very important, but I also think it's very important to continue the service, right? And if we're looking at next year to make sure that we have the E-rate dollars in, so we'll be able to kind of get some of the money back. If you can get with finance and budget and make sure that your budget is what we believe it to be at this particular point in time, and then we'll have this in our finance committee meeting, because it did come up briefly. If we can just have the update there, that way during our bond project, during our board governance on the 25th, we can vote on it then to make sure that we have what we say that we have. And if it's technology has a department that has a budget, and this will bring Mr. Pete up to speed too, and budget grants me to have this documented as well. How many bond budgets do we have per department, and what are those, and what is left over, so that we can make some accurate decisions and statements. And if we need to move something around the bond and float it over to ESSER, then we'll do so at that time and not prior to. Does that make sense?
So, what I heard President say is we're bringing it back the 25th for approval, because we are on federal calendar. So everything has to be submitted for our federal paperwork by the 27th, I believe.
Okay.
And looking at that, so we can't let it slide too far. We can do a conditional approval and say, before the district wants to move forward with this E-rate project, condition on funding, from the federal government and the district.
Well, I don't like.
So we can submit it.
Well, just as a practice, like I don't like doing conditional approvals.
Understand.
Again, there's some things that out of your control. Clearly, we've been having reports, but I don't think that's in your control of budgeting as far as the bond is concerned. I just want to make sure we have what we say that we have. Sure. And if I put a condition on it and we don't have it, then it's like, but we still haven't dealt with the problem. Because the issue becomes, if we do not get these access points done, and we just brought WHRC online, there are some other schools that we're going to take offline, that you're going to have to transfer things, new access points, or rebuild them over at the middle school. Like, these are things that should have been done prior to this kind of tight timeline as far as what I'm thinking or concerned. And then there's some parts and facilities where they're going to have a conversation around just building access points, and working through those spaces. So if you don't mind,
So we'll bring it back on the 25th with some
but
additional
prior to
information prior to that.
prior to that is, we have our facilities meeting on Thursday, right? So you can bring it there, as well, to kind of make sure that, I don't take that long. It's 2024, right? We should be able to give you what you know. We should be able to chew it up before then. I'm just saying it just for the official vote for the board, and I get it to the treasurer on that Thursday. He'll have it on that Monday. So
Sounds
we'll
good.
be,
Great.
yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, I appreciate it, thanks for the presentation, thank you for bringing it to us. So I need a motion to, table this until the 25th, March 25th, I'm sorry, moved by trustee Bowman, supported by trustee Brooks, questions, comments, and concerns to the table of the approval of wireless network update, E-rate, hearing none, roll call.
President Garrett,
Yes.
VP Gross.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Treasurer Terry.
Yes.
Trustee Bowman.
Yes.
Trustee Pratt.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bowman, I'm sorry,
Trustee Davis.
my bad.
You got 2 names. Thank you. Passes 8-0.
All right, so Ada, thank you, I appreciate it, thank you so much. All right, we're gonna go to, right now, we're going over to monthly financial update and bond presentation update, and that's gonna be in finance.
Thank you, President Garrett. At this time, I will turn it over to Pete, who will provide our monthly financial presentation for the month of February. Thank you.
Thank you. So our first chart here is our cash flow for the general fund. The beginning cash investments, 42.7 million, ending cash investments, 39.6 million. Overall, still a very healthy cash position in the general fund. Only item to note here really that stands out, interest earnings on the far right is 157,000 compared to where we were in September, which is only 87,000. Difference is the interest we get from the electric bus grant of 9.1 million, about 40,000 a month. So we do get a windfall from that, but overall, nothing stands out in terms of being a variance, so a healthy cash position overall. And we have our bar graphs with the tax anticipation note. The top is with the TAN, the bottom is without the TAN. Key takeaway here is the purple bar, which is current fiscal year, is well above the previous year's bars, which are in different colors, which means our cash position continues to improve year over year, month over month. Obviously, our TAN this year is at $8.5 million. The goal is to wean it down $1 million or $500,000 a year to eliminate our general fund debt, reduce interest expense, reduce attorney's fees. The negative, though, I remind you, is that you reduce your fund balance also in the process. So that's one negative. Okay, here we have general fund revenue or pie charts. The pie chart on the right is the current month or February. Pie chart on the left is fiscal year to date. The pie chart on the right is dominated with the red shade. That's the state aid revenue. That's just a function of the department getting caught up on posting state aid revenue. We have some turnover and some open positions, so we're just getting caught up there. Fiscal year to date, property taxes in blue at 45% continue to dominate. We're a summer tax collection district, so most of our taxes are collected in the early part of the year. The red is 15%, the state aid that I just mentioned. The 26% is our grants reimbursement. A big chunk of that is a $7 million ESSER reimbursement for the retention bonus we received back in January. And orange, we have the electric bus grant proceeds, about $9.1 million in the other category. Otherwise, general fund revenue composition is reasonable for this time of the year. General fund expenditures. So the pie chart on the right is February. The pie chart on the left is fiscal year to date. The pie chart on the right you see in blue as being the dominant shade. That's the instruction costs, which are your teacher salaries, benefits, classroom supplies, purchase services. We have a small shade in red here at 12% for pupil services. That's counseling, social workers, therapists. On the left, we also have instruction being the biggest portion of our expenses at 34%. We also have a big portion in purple. That's that $7.2 million retention bonus we paid in December. In orange, we have the TAN payments of $8.5 million we paid earlier in the year. Otherwise, again, the general fund composition for expenditures is very reasonable at this time of the year.
So
then we have our budget to actual.
I'm sorry. When you say 12%, no, there's a space in here for other at 4%. I'm not sure 4% or 2%. Colors are wrong.
In the expenditures?
Yeah, for February.
Yes.
So, I'm sorry, January 2024.
I'm sorry, that should be February. Yeah, that's
just okay. So yeah, February. So that 4%, what is that other? Like, what is that primarily cover?
The
Like,
four-
just-
Yeah, the 4% red, that looks like it's security.
So no, the 4% is security, but we have a 4% in other too, in the purple.
Oh,
Or is that 2% or 4%? I'm not, the way it looks on our chart, it looks like it's the 4% matching into the other. You got a light purple and a dark purple.
Okay.
That's why I like color charts. Okay. So,
that'd be, yeah, the others, so expenditures, payments to the ISD, other type of.
okay. If moving forward, if we can start spelling those others out, just so you know, so we know,
Yeah.
we know, so when we have this kind of conversation, we'll spell it out for you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay.
Okay, here we have your general fund budget to actual. So the current budget on the far left, so that was amended for the February amendment number 1. The net income or surplus for the year as of now, $207,000. That was a slight decrease from our adopted budget of $239,000. The big takeaway in terms of variances from prior years. So if you look in federal, in row 3, we see that's higher than it was last year. That's because of the retention bonus reimbursements we received through ESSERS. Other financing sources modifications, that's also higher because of the $9 million electric bus grant proceeds. Salaries running slightly higher than last year, again, because of the $7 million ESSER retention bonus that we paid in December. But other than that, no significant variations that stand out compared to prior years. Food service, the big takeaway here again, just to remind everybody, so we start out with a beginning fund balance of only $25,000. That was after that big loss we had last year of $360,000. We have a budgeted surplus of $30,000, but we're hoping to do much better, as I said before, hopefully the $100,000 to $200,000 range. Things are trending better in the food service area because of better meal counts, student participation, and employee attendance.
I'm sorry, on an average before the pandemic, what were we receiving from food services? Do you remember?
In terms of net income?
Just net income, just one. If you don't know,
I would say
you wasn't here during that particular time, but because I'm still trying to figure that out. Like since 2019, like we haven't really got an accurate, like what is their revenue, like what is the potential? Because also what changed in that was the quality of food service, which buying had to go up because we now started scratch servicing, our students, and almost every district went to free and reduced, right? So the reimbursables on that particular side will be shorted on our end, and we're not counting them the way that we need to count them. We don't have a POS system to help offset some of the, cost, which that would have, helped a little bit back in. You almost caught me. In the past, the POS system would help to offset some of that cost, but we don't have that. And so I'm just trying to think, what are some of the things that they're doing that can help bring revenue? And you don't have to answer that now, but I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect a CEP district to have at least 100,000. I mean, if
Yeah,
now you got something
okay.
that's not right, but I can look back and get.
Okay, all right, I appreciate it. All right, thank you.
Okay, our sinking fund cash flow. So not much activity here. Beginning cash investments 10.2 million, ending cash investments slightly less at 10.2 million. The only things that stand out here, the science labs, the middle school and high school, $59,000 in terms of expenditures. That was really the main focus of the sinking fund, as it has been most of the year, but overall a healthy cash position. And finally, we have our bond summary breakdown, bifurcated by 3 buckets. The first funding bucket is series 1, 2, and 3 for the bond proceeds at $147 million. The second bucket is the sinking fund transfer to be made of $11.5 million. And the third bucket, obviously, is the ESSERS monies at $12.5 million. We also have an extra bonus for interest income of $1.9 million. So our total budgeted revenues as of today are $174 million. Expenditures in terms of what's budgeted for after we include contingencies and projects is $188 million. So that leaves us, as I said before, with a structural deficit in the bond fund of $14.3 million, which we are working working to right size it going to series 2 and 3.
So, of course, it's not the 9 million that we thought we were. I'm sure of all that.
Yeah, it started
Before
at
you-
9.
Yeah, before you came, it was 9 million, so yes, which was less than a year ago, right? You only been, what, 6 months, maybe 7?
Yeah, I know we've had the change orders. We had some extra money that was counted on, but couldn't.
Yeah, quite get that. Okay, so now we're at 14. So I just want to clearly make sure I saw what I saw, and we're hearing what we're hearing. And when it comes to the bond dollars, if we was to just do whatever projects are set to be done now, we're looking at expending 188 million.
Yep,
So it's, we need to actually have a healthy discussion around what projects we want to
absolutely.
narrow down very, very soon.
Yep, agreed.
Okay, all right, thank you so much for pointing this out. He's looking at me, and I'm gonna shut up. Okay, thank you.
Okay, then just other information again, emergency purchases that require board approval, there were none. And the district financial forecast will be at an upcoming board meeting to be determined. So, thank you very much. Questions at this point will be fine.
All right, I've answered all my questions. Thank you, board, for allowing me to do so. Treasurer, yielding to you. Do you have anything you want to say? Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any questions? Do you have any questions? Okay. All right, thank you, kind sir. We appreciate you. We're gonna move down to the bond presentation update. Was that part of that bond presentation update? Was that part of it? Yeah. Oh, I'll say, yeah. We don't have that. How we doing? Okay. All right. Thank you.
So it's Cody Barber from Sac City.
Okay. So y'all just gonna leave him up there by himself? Like that's just him? Like, that's he? Oh, you big brain. Oh, okay. How you doing? How you doing, sir?
Good, how you doing?
All right, good. Appreciate you. All right, thank y'all so much. We'll be talking to you on Monday. Okay. All right, thank you. You must be doing an awful great job.
You doing all right?
Oh, great job. It has to be if somebody let you up there by yourself. That's never happened. Okay, awesome. Look forward to it. Thank you, sir. That's yours.
Thanks. Good evening. I'm Cody Farber with Saxy Construction, the project manager for the bond. So on the screen here, we'll give a little brief update on what's been going on and where we're at with everything. So for BitPack 31, which is the WHRC ITA doors and windows replacement project, we've met with all the contractors that are on board. We've had our kickoff meetings. We've created schedules all together, so it's all a collaborative effort to make sure we complete this on time. We've also established our relationships with both the principals at WHRC ITA with Mr. Carafa and Dr. Sharman, just introducing ourselves and getting to know the building, along with taking over the original gymnasium to start storing the materials that have started to show up. So we worked with Carafa and Dr. Sharman to just move classes into the new addition that was just built, along with getting Marvin and Anthony on board to help us with that progress. So as of today, a lot of the aluminum window frames and doorway frames have started to show up and are loaded up in that gymnasium. It's pretty special. We've put down a ton of floor protection in there, and with that floor protection, we can reuse that throughout the district. It's not just your typical paper ram board that's on the floor. It's an investment to make that we can move to each school as we're going. So I'll show you pictures of that later on the slide. And then on Rogers Elementary, Craig and I went through and met the principals that are there and started meeting some of the staff. We're going to go back through those schools once over spring break for the next couple weeks, just to get in when students aren't there, so we can take pictures, get to know the building without anyone there. And same thing with Harrington, really just getting everything together to put that on the street to see get the work under contract. And then with Marvin and Anthony and the help of the rest of the Pontiac team, we are just in that transition phase, picking up where Bart and Mallow left off. So next slide, please. So in here, this is at WHRC. This is the original wood floor with the gym. was before. If you go to the next slide. This is sort of like with the form protection down. It's about 3/4 of the gym. The gym's probably 7,700 square feet. We covered about 5,000 square feet of it. If you go to the next slide as well, we covered the rubber flooring that's outside and inside the gym. So when we're having carts, people are trekking through with those materials, we aren't damaging anything new. Next slide, please. And then inside, it's kind of hard to see the pictures, but you can start. This is the first day of last week. They started loading in all of the aluminum frames. It's quite astonishing how many are in there and the means and methods they use to keep track of that. It was pretty impressive. And then next slide. Okay, so that's all I got. But yeah, everything is moving smoothly. We are in WHRC is where we moved in. So if anyone wants to come visit, we're up there every day. And then over here, you guys will see in the district is Craig Bergman. He's our superintendent, getting things moving. But yeah, thank you for having us out here. Here's Anthony.
All right, thank you.
And also, Coach, we gotta tell you that we've had the electricians in the building, that they went through and put in all the new controller boxes throughout WHRC. So all those lighting issues that people were putting in FMX, driving me crazy for these last 7 weeks. I'm happy to say of 7 or 8 that we had lingering since of July of last year, Saxy was able to get those squared away, and I was able to resolve them in FMX today. So I'm very thankful that we got those things squared away, and I think we got 2 more weeks, or 1 more week left. 2 more weeks of the electricians in the building going through completely changing all the controllers of all the lights in WHRC, and hopefully that will solve everything.
All right, any questions to the board? Okay, trustee Craig. Keem, please, Keem.
Yeah, I was over at WHRC earlier in the week, and I went through that gym, and I saw that on the floor and everything, and I thought that was real smart of you guys, and I saw it was taped and everything. I tell you, I visit these schools. I want you to know out there in the audience, to know that I visit these schools, and I make sure that everybody is doing what they're supposed to do, and you guys are just doing a good job over there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Man, you make me feel like I be doing something, man. Don't be. We know, but it is great to be in the schools and so people can see exactly kind of what's going on, things of that nature. So we appreciate that. Mr. Beasley, thank you so much for what your team, what your staff has been doing over the past, I'd say less than 60 days at this point. So we are kind of looking forward to your report, your standard operating procedure. We know some things have changed over there. May at our board retreat. So thanks so much. So we're gonna move. Thank you. We're gonna move down to operations and maintenance, 2024 asbestos abatement at WHRC. That would be Dr. Leverett, via interim director, Mr. Beasley.
Thank you, President Garrett. At this time, I will turn it over to Mr. Beasley, our interim facilities director, and we've been talking a lot about the asbestos project for this year at WHRC.
Good evening. We bring to tonight for approval Park Environmental for the background rationale, project coordination, air monitoring. AEG will provide all necessary asbestos and solid services to support planned abatement activities prior to renovation of Pontiac School District at WHRC for planned renovation 2024. Renovations including but not limited to scheduled construction meetings with Pontiac School District Construction Manager Saxy, construction site review, polarized light microscopy at the site, project air monitoring, air sample analysis, clearance, gas sampling, and a HERA record keeping activities. Recommendation is, it is the recommendation of the administration of the Board of Education to approve a proposal with Arc Environmental Group in amount not to exceed $55,000.
Okay. All right. Is this a part the abatement? I'm sorry.
They monitor.
Any other questions? Excuse me 1 second. Any questions from the board? Okay, thank you. So the abatement.
space, we had a long-term company, I'm not sure what their name was, that was brought in by a director previously to you. Is this the same company, or is this the same company that we're
Yes,
using?
our environmental, yes, they are.
Okay,
They do a lot of monitoring for space removal.
and is this something additional to their, are they on retainer, or is this project by project for them?
Project by project.
All right, that's all I have. All right, thank you so much. If you're gonna move down, I think it's SME Structure and Engineer contract, that actually is your department, so.
Agree proposal from SME, construction engineering contract, background rationale. SME conducted a proposal based on January 10th, 2024, to review existing site conditions, clarify PSD intent, and develop SME proposed scope of services. During this visit, it was found that existing deficiencies were primarily concentrated at the central east area of the building, in rooms including the warehouse, water room, and maintenance bays. And so it is our recommendation of the administration of education to approve proposal for professional consulting services for SME in the amount not to exceed $31,800.
I see the funding, I see one funding source that that's is covered by bond. Is it any reason, I'm sorry. Any questions from the board? Okay, right, so that was my question. So you want to answer me? Or, okay, so I see the structure engineering contract and it was brought back in January. Why is this coming out of general fund and not out of the bond?
It's not part of the bond, it's part of the structural, there's some cracking going on in the walls that had to be looked at, we need to look at, it's not part of the bond project.
At all, okay. So the cracking, it doesn't say what building or,
Sorry, Mr. Felsen.
okay, the Fel Center, okay. Okay, any other questions from the board? Treasurer?
So this wouldn't qualify, I'm looking for the documentation, this wouldn't qualify under, what kind of funds?
Sinking fund?
Sinking fund for like repairs and everything else, that this doesn't qualify for that?
I have to look at it, it's general fund because it's a separate, it's not a, project, it's a structural, issue going on, which we need to look at, which fall under, it's not a maintenance.
Right, which is our general, it's not, I'm not necessarily say general maintenance, but general, it's not general maintenance.
Right.
This would be more construction project. So with the sinking fund, there's a sinking fund, sinking fund is done, right? Go ahead, feel free to comment.
No, the sinking fund is more for the actual repairs versus the consulting. This is different. It's a cost.
So this is the consulting, is this a consulting contract or this
Correct.
actual work?
Consulting. They come out and assess what is going on in the Fel Center and give you recommendations on what needs to be done.
Okay, so this was done January 10th. And we're now bringing it to the board for approval.
Right, because it was in process, but because of the switch over in the previous management.
Okay.
Yes.
That helps me.
So,
Okay.
that's
what I
what
thought. Okay, all right. So, okay, and then there's one thing else that I want to have a conversation on. Well, are we finished with this? We're done? Okay, we're good? Any other questions? No other questions, okay. We had this question come up several times. And we had it, and it fluctuates from what the state allows versus what we allow, particularly with these bond projects, any contracts that we have, things of that nature, right? And so at first, before you even took, before this switching came, it was $25,000. And then we said, anything over $25,000, you bring it to the board. But then now it's this state minimum or state, not sure the proper term at this particular point in time, it is up to like $29,000. But it doesn't stop the board from making a recommendation of what we want to come before us at this particular point in time. The state says $29,000, and I think that was told us that it goes up a percentage every year with things that.
Yeah, it's based on inflation.
Okay, based upon inflation. And so that's fine, and I get it, and I understand that, and that's perfectly fine. However, I because some things were done, that was not brought to the board, even if it went over the $29,000 or whatever the inflation happened. I want to be clear on setting a tone now, that I want to get it in writing for as a resolution, or not such a resolution, a motion from the board. And so that's why I want to have this discussion around that, because people need to know clearly what needs to come before the board, or it needs to be before they, needs to know clearly what needs to come before the board. If the inflation is what, at this point, $29,000 or something like that?
Right, 29,752.
Okay. So, since we were already under the impression it was $25,000, I like to keep it as a motion, to keep it at $25,000. Reason why I would like to keep it at $25,000 is just me as an individual trustee, and I put my motion on if I get support, I get support. The reason why I want to keep it at $25,000 is because as we were going through these changes, and as we were going through other companies and some of the processes in which they went through by invoicing, it was just inaccurate on what they did. I'm gonna leave it at that because I don't want to get involved with the terms. I need a motion on the floor to keep at minimum, anything over $25,000 becomes to the board before approval.
Second.
I'm sorry. Second, moved by trustee Garrett, second by trustee Gross. Questions, comments, or concerns, and I'll leave it to the time.
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
Go
I think there's an actual policy that you all have as it relates to the superintendent's authority, specifically, the number escapes you right now, right?
It is
6320
60.
or 6325. And, it says, that authority is up to that state minimum bid limit, so,
So
your motion would be pretty kind of inconsistent with the actual policy. And there may be another policy too, it's just that,
Well, the policy is the standard.
You can change your policy.
But we can change the policy. But a motion also allows us to go by what our authority says now. We're not going over the $29,000. I figured if we were going over the $29,000 or whatever that threshold could be, then I can see us saying, okay, we're gonna run into a policy. We're just going, but we want below that threshold. And so I don't want to change it right now to 29 to say that, hey, we're gonna change the policy, and because things are happening right now. I think that we were under the impression as we started the bond, as most of us that came, that we were at 25,000 that it would come. And we're just saying that any contract at this particular point in time be $25,000. I am saying $25,000 come to the board for approval, unless, because they have a timing to bring it to a committee or have a special meeting or to have things put in a place in such a way where we know where we're voting on things, and then it come to us. As of right now, again, we don't have that. Like, I looked for the motions, I looked for things, people had said that, oh, we had another threshold of this, we had another threshold of that. And I'm just saying today, as of March 18th, is to say, okay, we were under the impression it's $25,000, it's $25,000. Now, whatever needs to be worked out afterwards or amongst you guys in your day-to-day, how that needs to happen, then I'll leave that to day-to-day. But as far as the Board of Education is concerned, people need to clearly hear say it's $25,000. And I don't want to do because there are, another part of this is, and you've seen this before, is that we may say that going into the bond projects, that we may give bond or facilities a threshold of $100,000, but keep administration at the state minimum of $29,000. At least there'll be motions and things that we can identify and things on record that we know that is happening from us, not just this ambiguity of what it is, if that makes sense. And that's why I don't want to change the policy. That makes sense. Okay. All right.
Thank you, sir.
There's one.
I'm sorry,
other
go ahead.
caveat too,
Go ahead.
I forget. Diana's here. I think there's some expenditures that are between 10 and 25 that also have to come to the board.
That's specifically based on the contract and as well as the project.
Yeah. So I don't want anybody thinking that you all are expanding the policy for
No.
things that require, like that $10,000 that require approval now by the board, that you all are expanding that, so.
Correct, no.
No.
Okay.
There are contracts, well, that's the first motion we're gonna take care of. And then there's another motion, just after we take this vote, that I'm gonna ask the board for, is that contracts that inclusive to hiring and, that those contracts, HR have a copy of those, as well as far as business, also office have a copy of those. There were contracts that just, in all honesty, that you didn't even have a copy of, which was,
That was
and that's our concern. So if we don't make these motions, then people can say that they're just here. So, with the first motion, it was moved by trustee Gary, seconded by Vice President Gross. We want to,
You just said what I want.
all contracts under $25,000 a month, any contract over $25,000, any contract over $25,000 comes to the board for approval. So questions, comments, or concerns? I saw your hand, Mr. Allen, before we take this one.
Yeah, I just want to make sure as a matter of clarity, that they also know that that $25,000 is inclusive of inside the contingency amount as well.
Okay, so here's what I'm saying. You can put whatever you want to in. If the contingency bump you over $25,000, bring it back to the board. Like, so we're clear, so everybody just knows it's clear across the board. Okay. All right, roll call, please.
VP Gross.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Treasurer Terry.
Yes.
Trustee Bowman. Trustee Kraft.
Yes.
Trustee Davis Smith. And President Garrett.
Yes.
Okay.
Passes seven.
All right, thank you. Now, my second motion on the floor. My second motion is that all contracts that is approved through HR, or not approved through HR, but all contracts that would include a hiring, staff, personnel, et cetera, for the district. I'm trying to do a one catch all. That a copy of that contract, now that is approved by HR, but after its approval from the board or its approval process, that a copy is immediately or included in the HR department is included in getting a copy of it. And the attorney. So I'm gonna clean the motion up in a second, but just.
It's one of the things, so, one of the things when we revamped, how we structured things around here back in 2013 is that we made sure, and this was mostly over the schools, one of the requirements was that the business office be the central repository for all contracts. And it definitely, all contracts, copy of them had to be in the business office, and then, they have a record in the system of them. So, and I just don't want that to be disregarded.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, because we're just doing some historical perspective here. What I'm saying is that we found out that practice was not necessarily done.
Correct.
And so we just want to make sure that everybody knows that HR has a copy, the attorney has a copy, definitely business. We would assume business finance would have had a copy, but that's not necessarily been the case. And so the motion on the floor is to make sure that any contract that is under the threshold of 25,000, a copy, that is a copy of it, be kept in finance, HR, and their attorneys, Okay, that's the motion. Need a support. I'm putting the motion out, need a support. Supported by trustee Bowman. Questions, comments, and concerns to that motion?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And that includes all previous contracts that we could find or know about, ETC, et cetera, any ones that you can find.
by the end of March, everybody should be able to have a copy of each of those contracts. Okay? All right, roll call, Madam Secretary.
I'm voting yes. Treasurer Terry?
Yes.
Trustee Bowman?
Yes.
Trustee Kraft?
Yes.
Trustee Davis Smith?
Yes.
President Gary?
Yes.
And VP Gross?
Absolutely.
7-0.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. Need a motion on the floor to approve, I'm sorry. Need a motion on the floor to approve, moving on to the action item. Motion on the floor to move action item approval of 2024 asbestos abatement at WHRC. So moved by trustee Gross, supported by trustee Bowman. Questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, roll call.
Treasurer Terry?
Yes.
Trustee Bowman?
Yes.
Trustee Kraft?
Yes.
Trustee Davis Smith?
Yes.
President Gary?
Yes.
VP Gross?
Yes.
And I'm voting yes.
Okay, thank you. Need an action item to approval of SME structure and engineering contract. Need a motion. So moved. Moved by trustee Gross, supported by trustee David Smith. Questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Bowman?
Yes.
Trustee Kraft?
Yes.
Trustee Davis Smith? Yes. President Gary?
Yes.
VP Gross?
Yes.
I'm voting yes. And Treasurer Terry?
Yes.
7-0.
Okay. Thank you, board. We're gonna move down to communications, petitions, and delegations. Mr. Vice President.
Mr. President, we have none at this time.
We don't have any at this time. Okay, board comments and announcements. We're gonna move right to trustee Kraft. Good evening, sir. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, I want to start on a somber note. A couple of days ago, we lost one of our good community people. He's an extraordinary person. I happen to know him very well. He was a part of our officiating brotherhood. His name was Mr. Richard Rip Peters. He refereed basketball until his last days. We worked together on February 26th. On a Saturday, he became ill, came sick a week later, and then he succumbed to his illness on Saturday. And this is going to be a sad thing for our community because we all grew up under him. I believe that he was the one that actually sparked the flame in my head to initiate and start officiating. I initially took a class in college, and I used it as a PE credit, and I never utilized it until about 12 years later. I was we used to play basketball at the Salvation Army, playing leagues in the 80s and the early 90s, and Rip Peterson was officiating our leagues. And this one particular night, after the games was over, he called us out to the parking lot. Called all the guys, maybe about 10, 15 of us. And he said, guys, I got something I want you to see. And if anybody can remember Rip, he had this lowrider truck. It was a young boy truck, and it was cut down. It was a blue truck. And, that kind of fascinated us because that was in our age thing. He looked at us guys, and he said, guys, thanks, like that. So it sparked the flame in my head. I said, God, he been reffing and he been taking our money this whole time. He bought this truck. So that was the thing. I said, Rip, and I always would tell him that. I said, man, you the one that got me started. I've been doing it 31 years, and we worked together that whole time. So, thanks, Mr. Peters.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Bowman.
This was a lovely meeting. Grateful that we got to take care of business. Yes. It was a lovely meeting. I hope that everyone has a great night. Thanks.
All right, thank you, ma'am. You in trouble now? Trustee David Smith. You doing
Good
something? How you doing, man?
There you go. I wanted to say congratulations to our students and our teacher again. Also, there was a great presentation from our students who went to Harvard. And I just want to say also about referee Rip. he was a great man. I remember in our pal years, my brothers and when they were playing basketball, is when I met him. I probably was about 8 years old. And I'm glad I had a chance to see him. And it was in February, I believe. We had an event at the high school and I saw him there. And I just want to give my condolences to his family. And thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
All right, thank you. Mr. Treasurer, how you doing, sir? Nice pens you got there.
Thank you. I earned every one.
Yes, sir.
No, once again, great meeting. Want to say congratulations to all of our honored society awardees, also to the Detroit Sympathy Orchestra Middle School honor, and also the National Education Equity Lab teacher. So congratulations again to everyone. Wonderful meeting again. Always good to see everybody. Thank you. Have a good night.
Madam Secretary, thank you, sir. Madam Secretary, how you doing?
Good. Good. Again, just want to thank OUPs for their support and dedication to our students, and also congratulate again our awardees and those that were recognized tonight for their accomplishments. And that's all I got. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Mr. Vice President, how you doing, sir?
Excellent, Press, thank you, and I appreciate this time. I'm not gonna preach tonight, so I'm just gonna give it.
Okay.
I want to give a shout out and recognition to Team Pontiac. And Team Pontiac is our team from Kennedy High School. 9th state championship this weekend. 7th championship of the state in a row. 18-0. Let's give a hand to our team, Team Pontiac. And our hopes is to, when we get back from our break in our board meetings, we can recognize them as we talked done in the past. But this is special, 7 in a row. No one has ever done that in the state of Michigan. Probably not around the country. So we want to recognize them if we can, Mr. President. I know their coaches are listening. Get them on our agenda and bring them in and recognize them and say thank you. Appreciate all of you. Thank you. Good night. And again, my condolences, my good friend. I'll leave it at that. It's tough. I'll leave it at that. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Just remember that whatever you're doing and why you're doing it, you don't have to bring other people down to get there. Like you don't have to belittle or like feel like you're jealous or envious of that particular person. Like be kind to people because you don't know what they're going through. You don't know, they may look like they can always handle it, right? They always got it under control. And check on your strong friends or the people that you make in your department. Make sure that, people that you don't necessarily communicate with or talk with every day or have an interaction with, that you have an interaction with them. I know for me is, I expect the challenges to come. I expect them because in leadership, the best thing you can do as a leader is to put yourself in a position that if you don't do what's right, the people that's asking you to stand up for them, they get hurt the most. Like the offenses that's coming to you are nothing compared to the ones that you're called to protect. And that's just being a leader. If you choose to do so. If you choose to do so. And I would like to think as professionals you choose to do so. I know for me, I've taken a lot of personal hits against my livelihood about how I take care of my family, and people take it amongst themselves to personally go after that. And I know who they are. It's very easy to find out because I see the jealousy in the eyes of the envy when they pass me, and I'm okay with it. And I'll be honest with you, like between Trustee Davis and soon Dr. Hannah and Trustee Bowman, like the things that I learned from y'all 2 years ago, just on how to handle certain things, like to be able to
publicly out here and say that I know and be like, you know what, it's okay, because I get it. And we're supposed to, we're, as a leader, the offense is supposed to come to teach me how to handle those who I protect. And I'm with that 1,000%. And I'm grateful that I'm being put in this position to do so. That only lets me go a little faster, I'll be honest with you. Like it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of, Gross would say it's kind of a sick kind of thing I kind of got going on with myself. But I don't. I really love what I do. And it's my calling, I take it up. And so continue. I celebrate you. Like keep shooting your best shot because you're making me stronger and stronger and stronger every single day. And I appreciate that because it teaches me to honor my teammates, right? And I'm so proud of y'all. I'm so proud of everything that you've done for our students and how you stand 10 toes down, as the kids would say. I've been standing on business, right? You made some choices that people just wouldn't make. And as many as the people who say that they served here, they've never done what you've done. And so because I'm big bro and I got receipts, I'm gonna take those folks on. Y'all keep doing what y'all do. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking forward to April when you got that hood on and you standing in front of our kids and you're saying, hey, when they graduate and you hand out your diploma, you got a hood on, you a doctor. People can't say that. You know what I'm saying? Like when we talking about having mental health awareness, we didn't have that years ago. That wasn't something that was done. And now we're looking at getting nooks and little spaces that even I'm gonna take advantage of getting inside, right? We didn't have businesses coming just donating time until Trustee Davis decided to say, I'm gonna put some time in what I'm doing, and I'm gonna keep taking this to the basketball team, the football team, just going over to Peace and Foster to celebrate. We didn't have any of those things. So when I think of Rip, and I think of Roy, and I think of Mr. Walker, and I look at Kraft, and I look at this young man over here next to me, like I'm not gonna disappoint them. I'm not gonna let them down. You know what I'm saying? Because these men, I got a chance to touch them, talk to them, and I know they were born and you guys were raised with them. I mean, but the honor that I have to be able to just say that I knew them, right? That I knew Rip knew me, that Roy knew me, that Mr. Walker knew me, and they were proud of me, and they shook my hand and gave me a hug and told me that they loved me. I'm gonna keep standing on that, because that's what I need. Because people like me and Marcus, you know what I'm saying? I think Marcus did get it. I think he did about it. Maybe he did. But I love y'all, man, and continue to just keep being who you are to people and keep loving on people, all right? Need a motion on the floor to adjourn, please. Moved by Trustee Davis Smith, supported by Trustee Bowman. Questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Kraft.
Yes.
Trustee Davis Smith.
Yes.
President Garrett.
Yes.
VP Gross.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Treasurer Jerry.
Yes.
And Trustee Bowman.
Yes.
7-0.
All right, thank you. All right, have a good evening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please, you guys have been doing an excellent job of getting the messaging out. Communications has been doing an excellent job. I know y'all been seeing all the branding and marketing else is going on. So again, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate you so much. I know he didn't mean to do that. He doesn't. He didn't mean to do that. Thank y'all so much. Good night. We appreciate you.